Good evening, everyone. What's up? I just ate a satisfying meal and topped it off with a meaty dessert. This is Mr. Hata speaking. Previously, I did the sixth part of the top 45 worst episodes, part 6, I believe. So, today is part 7 of the top 45 worst SpongeBob episodes. Well, let's get started, shall we? Now let's see where we left off. We left off at number 26, House Sitting for Sandy from season 8, 2000, September 2011. That's where we left off. So, I already ranted on the episode. Now it's time to see why the episode was bad. If SpongeBob and Patrick had been punished and everything was rebuilt, this episode would have been okay. This is yet again another well-demonstrated example of how Patrick is not trustable. And we have learned something today also. SpongeBob is not trustable either. He can be just as bad as Patrick at times. He has been worse than Patrick maybe like once or twice in the whole series, but Patrick has been worse than him almost every single time. This time, at the end, it was all SpongeBob's fault. He's the reason why the tree dome got destroyed. Question: why on earth did he have to screw up at the very end just when he was behaving alright? What am I doing? I felt sorry for Sandy. Yeah, those two buffoons, SpongeBob and Patrick, are not trustable. Lesson learned. Back to the countdown. Now we have made it to the top 25. This is the top 25 worst SpongeBob episodes, second edition. For real, the second edition. I already did a top 25 worst episodes almost 2 years ago. 20 episodes down, 24 more to go. We'll be halfway, hopefully in the 8th or 9th video. So let's go. Let's do this, shall we? These SpongeBob episodes will be worse than the previous ones. They'll be even worse than before. Overall, the main problem with these is that some characters, especially SpongeBob and Patrick, don't ever get punished when they should be. Bad characters. The reason for these episodes making the top 25 worst SpongeBob episodes countdown, like the last one or the previous episodes, is because of 1. Randomness. 2. Characters not getting punished when they deserve to be. 3. BS. 4. Boredom. Yep. And I'm going to admit this to you right now. There were some of the bad episodes were watchable, but some boring episodes deserve to be high on the countdown to how boring they are. So, this is the top 25 worst SpongeBob episodes. Starting off with number 25, New Fish in Town from January 2011, season 7 or 8. Let's see why this made this to this spot. Shall we begin? Squidward has finished a lovely clarinet piece, but it's burnt. Why is that? Well, it's because SpongeBob and Patrick, who have nothing else better to do, are being as obnoxious as usual. Was it this time, one might ask? They were posting a for rent sign for who knows why. The two imbeciles go jellyfishing right after that. When they're gone, a new fish named Howard moves in. Squidward distrusting everyone. Well, I don't blame him. I don't trust anyone in Bikini Bottom either from watching all these episodes. Says that the place is not for rent, but apparently he has the same interest as Squidward and, with some convincing, decides to stay. Howard plays bassoon, loves art, and drinks tea. So music, art, and class is all what Squidward has, too. However, he cannot stand neighbors that are like jellyfishing and bubble blowing. The same for Squidward. That is why he moved out, and I really don't blame him for doing so. Squidward is scared and must do something about it before Howard finds out. The plot begins just as soon as SpongeBob and Patrick want to meet the new neighbor. That is kind of when or how the plot was created. Well, there had to be a plot somehow, so this is it. Meanwhile, when they're playing their duet, Squidward and Howard can hear the two imbeciles' obnoxiousness. To make trouble preventable, Squidward attempts to hide everything, basically lying. The first excuse he can come up with is that it's his read and it was all his fault. He attempts to quickly cover everything until Howard is suspicious from so many times. Even though Squidward begs him not to go out, Howard does anyway and see what's going on. This is when things really change. Howard finds out what's going on and changes his mind about everything he said earlier in the episode. That means he changed his mind about the bubble blowing and jellyfishing garbage nonsense. In other words, he becomes like the two imbeciles that anger Squidward. It means that he immediately dislikes this, having almost a decent neighbor. Two can play at that game, but not three, he says. Yep, the new fish in town had class until he met those two untrustable nincompoops. Why did there have to be a shortcut to end this episode? Like many other episodes, they just try to end everything as quick as possible and never show it again in other episodes. Why, I ask. Because of this, Squidward gets rid of the new fish, basically getting rid of his house. When he is told to pop a bubble, he can't. I don't know why, because the bubble won't let him be popped, which does not make sense. Although Howard seemed very boring, he was sort of fine the way he was. He was a bland character, but at least he had class before he met those two nincompoops. Overall, this was a boring episode. If Howard showed up in other episodes, it would have not been a waste, and that would have actually made a little bit of improvement to the series. Introducing a few characters is not bad, but don't introduce a bunch of characters like they did in Thomas the Tank Engine, which was so futile because they were all bland retards. This episode would have been great if Howard had beaten up the two imbeciles and decided to stay, and he and Squidward become best friends. There, all has been said. That was a perfect solution to the end of that episode. A great alternative, eh? Boredom and randomness is why this episode from almost 4 years ago rests at number 25. That's all I have to say for the 7th part of the top 45 worst SpongeBob episodes, part 7. I'm sorry we only got through 2 episodes, but there's just so much to talk about for each episode. That's why they all made it to this countdown. If there was nothing to rant on, they wouldn't make the countdown. There has to be at least one reason for an episode to make the countdown, so a quick update. Part 8 will be up in 1 or 2 weeks from now. I don't know when. Thanksgiving is going to be quite busy, so it might be postponed to after Thanksgiving. Thank you for your cooperation. A shout out to Zack Attack 101 1001, also known as Zachary Kotalik. A shout out to Nick Richardson, and a shout out to Vani, also known as Giovanni. All 3 YouTube channels will get a shout out today. Thank you so much. Well, look at the time. I gotta get out of here. That's all I have to say for this part of the countdown. See you on my next video.